What's happening, guys? I know I keep talking about GameStop, but I'm not gonna stop talking about them because it's funny how bad of a situation they're in when there's no reason for it to even be a situation. It's just funny to me that they're like, oh, we can't manage to turn a profit. Digital distribution is gonna kill us. Digital distribution is not going to kill you, GameStop. It's not. Your own stupidity will kill you. I've been trying to slowly give you the answers because these are correct answers here, in which this is how you fix GameStop. Okay, I talked about in one video how you should start selling retro games in GameStop and take ThinkGeek out. That is one thing you could do to see a profit start to turn. Okay, I talked about fixing your online service because you are the worst online service of anywhere. Your employees are unfortunately not fit enough to run a game store. They shouldn't be there. A lot of them. Not all of them. Every once in a while you run across one that's legit, who legitimately knows about video gaming, but those are so few and far spread out. It's like maybe one per state. You might get one guy who knows about gaming who just managed to slip through the cracks of the slope to be of some use, but they never stick around. They always end up leaving. So you need to get gamers in a store for gamers where they're supposed to go spend their money. That is a simplistic fucking equation for you, and how you have complicated it and so convoluted. I don't know the right word there, but you know what I'm saying. Convoluted. I don't know the right word. I mean, it sounds like it, but I could be wrong. Anyway, my point is you have fucked it up. Okay? Gamers should be able to go into GameStop and talk with other gamers who actually know about games that are more than just Call of Duty, Halo, God of War, Mario, and Zelda. You should be able to go into a GameStop and you should be allowed, if you work there, to talk about any of the fucking titles. It doesn't matter which one. You shouldn't have an agenda to push Call of Duty on people. You shouldn't force anything on people. GameStop is supposed to be the store where I, as a gamer, regardless of if I'm hardcore gamer or casual gamer, I should be able to walk in and, regardless of what I pick up, be able to talk about it with the guy behind the counter and discuss whether it's a good game or a bad game, or if I think it's a good game, or why I'm buying it. I should be able to do that. But GameStop isn't one of those stores. GameStop isn't one of those companies. They pride themselves on numbers. They pride themselves on how many times a number returns to the store instead of the experience of being there. I mean, you walk into a GameStop, all you get is numbered employees. You don't even really get someone who's like been playing video games for either as long as you or maybe even longer than you. Those people are not in those stores. Okay? If I know someone who's older than me, I want them to be playing video games since like 84. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an 84 baby. I want you to be playing games as old as I am, if not older. Okay, if you're an older guy who works at GameStop. I don't want to walk into a GameStop and have somebody older than me behind the counter who has no idea what the fuck the Nintendo DSi is. I don't need that in my life. Nobody needs that, GameStop. We need people who play video games, who have a knowledge of video games, who follow video gaming news. We need that in GameStop. That's what you need. You need those type of people in there. The money situation will handle itself with the customers coming in and going out. Okay? Because you'll see an increase of customers coming in the more you have that type of person behind the counter. The type of person who isn't biased towards Sony or Xbox or Nintendo. They just love gaming in general. And they can talk to anybody. You need those type of people in GameStop. Not somebody who's, so would you like to reserve the next Call of Duty? No. You get what I'm saying? Somebody who can look at the games you're actually buying and actually say, would you like to reserve a game that's just like these, that you might not know anything coming out about it. You need knowledgeable people in there, okay? Because while the digital age is coming, and yes, it's going to slow down new sales, which you make very little profit off of, it's never going to slow down used market, okay? The used market is where you're supposed to, GameStop, be the one who's like, oh, we make all our bread and butter off of gaming when it's used like a fucking yard sale. Okay, you're just shifting from being up with all the brand new shit like the PS4 and the Xbox One. You're shifting from that, going back into like the old Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, the Masters, the Atari, the Colecos, the SNES, shit like that. That is where now your bread and butter lies. Your main source of income now, for it to come in to make all the money you want to make, is now reliant upon you doing more work because you didn't prepare yourself. Okay? Because the retro market is run by a bunch of people who take it very seriously. Okay? We're taking apart cartridges to find out if it's a legit copy or a bullshit copy. Which means now you have to do that, GameStop. We can't spend $100 or $300 on a cartridge for SNES, get home, take it apart, and find out it's a fake. You understand what I'm saying? So it means now for you to make your money, GameStop, you have to go in and put all that work in, all that love and care in to make sure you got what you paid for. You know what I'm saying? And you can't say you can't do it. Don't say that, GameStop. That's absolutely not true. You have the resources to make sure you're selling the proper retro games. You just don't want to. I don't know what it is about companies out here, man. They want to just sit back, jerk off, and fucking nut in some random person's face and get paid for it. And it not even be their job requirement. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're supposed to sweep the floor and everything, but you took an 8-hour nap. You still want a paycheck? Like, that's pretty much how bad you are. Now you're having to become those companies you bought up. All those mom and pop retro stores you bought up where they had majority like NES games or Sega Genesis games or some Sega Dreamcast games. And they had like a big ass selection of Xbox and PS2 games. You know, they had crazy amounts of space dedicated to retro and very little space devoted to the new generation. That's what you're going to have to start doing. That's how you're going to start generating all this income. And that's how you're going to be able to entice people not only to come to GameStop, but to spend money at GameStop. Get that Think Geek shit out of there. That's not doing shit for nobody. It can be successful on its own too. You just have to get the word out. You have to make it known Think Geek is there. You have to promote the fucking thing, basically. But for GameStop to turn around, for GameStop to be a place where people want to go, where they want to spend money, you will never have to be completely, even when it's all digital, you'll never truly be out of the market because you'll still have those little fucking game cards, those little cash cards and everything. That is always going to be a thing, okay? Especially considering PlayStation Network is down now, so they're never going to get the full trust of their consumer back. So you're always going to be relevant for that. You see what I'm saying? But when people walk in and they want to get like the newest indie game that had a physical release, they're going to look over and they're like, oh, look at all this fucking Sega Dreamcast gold here, man. Fucking look at this. It's beautiful. I used to have one. Let me buy one, you know, put this card down and fucking now I'm buying up all this retro shit that I know I can trust because GameStop took care of it. That's the experience that you need to have now, GameStop. It was a long time coming, but it's here now. You have to turn GameStop into GameStop. You have to take out Think Geek. You have to put gamers behind the register. Yes, you're going to catch a few that are just bad as shit, but so what? Not everybody's good at everything. You just need to realize, hey, look, we want the people who know the most about gaming, the people who are most passionate about gaming. We want you to work here because we want to be successful. Right now, people who work at GameStop have very little video game knowledge. In fact, a lot of your customers at GameStop know more about video games than your own employees. A lot of people know more about games than your own fucking store managers. Okay? That's not something people respect when you think about a game that is a video game store. You don't respect the company that knows nothing about the product they're selling, but cares about the bottom dollar. You can care about that bottom dollar, but when it comes to video games, to us gamers, it's important to know that when we spend our money somewhere, like GameStop, that we're getting the best experience we can get. Because I can buy that fucking game anywhere else. I can go anywhere else. If I'm talking about a brand new game like a Switch game or a PS4 or an Xbox One game, I can go to Walmart, I can go to Target, I can go to Best Buy, I can go to GameStop. But if I go to GameStop and the experience sucks, guess what? I still have Best Buy, I still have Walmart, and I still have fucking Target. That's 3 other locations I can go to because your experience is terrible. You feel what I'm saying? And now I don't even have to leave my fucking home. I can type in a credit card number and bam, I can get the game right then. You dig what I'm saying? So now you have been the worst company when it comes to having employees who know stuff about gaming. Majority of your employees for the longest time were there as a number to push shit that had nothing to do with gaming in the first fucking place. So it's now time for you to go from being that to being a place where gamers come together and it's just a beautiful experience where we can all talk about games, where we can buy our old games, where we can get those digital cards, where we can, buy whatever the newest thing is, but we don't worry about the newest thing there. It's there if we want it, but it's got old retro stuff. We go in there, we reminisce. It's all about, the nostalgia and everybody's having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Those type of stores are not GameStop. Those type of stores are the ones that are few and far between that offer a whole bunch of retro games, and they don't focus on the new ones. They have retro games, they have little collectibles, but their collectibles don't eat up majority of the store. The majority of the stores eat up by all these retro games. They're in really good condition. You can buy an old system, you can buy games for that old system, and I mean, they make a living. They make more than enough to live. You dig what I'm saying? GameStop, that's the formula. That is it from head to toe. From head to fucking toe. For you to turn a profit right now, you need to go through and you need to fire anybody who doesn't at least know from the Nintendo Wii, the original Nintendo Wii, to right now in video gaming. Okay? But when you start bringing in, and the reason I say from the Nintendo Wii is because Nintendo Wii, PS3, and Xbox 360 are all the same generation. And depending on how in-depth that person is with those three systems could determine on how good their older gaming knowledge is. And you definitely need gamers in there to run a gaming store. Having corporate stooges in there who only worry about money and what they're going to do when everything goes all digital, when physical media will never disappear. Think about it. Look, I'm going to prove it to you right now, okay? We're going to use this as an example. This is a PS Vita game. This one game alone probably had upwards of 10,000 to 20,000 prints. Probably more than that for this one game, okay? You mean to tell me that you believe that a game that has that many prints is just... The physical idea of this is just... It's going to go away as soon as everything goes all digital with either downloading or streaming. You're telling me that? Do you realize how stupid you sound? Do you realize how many cartridges of Mario 3 are out there? Do you realize how many cartridges of Smash Bros. Is out there? You realize how many copies of Mario 64 are in the wild? Do you realize how many copies of Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9? Do you not understand how many games have been printed, not only just for the game of itself, but how many copies of said game have been printed? There's always going to be a physical medium. It's going to be the retro market. And being that you make majority of your money off of used games, how do you not understand this? Yes, it's going to be more work, but the more work you put in with the retro market, the more you will get a hardcore loyalty fan base who will never leave. Okay? If I know I can go to GameStop and pick up a PS2 game, a Super Nintendo game, a Sega Genesis game, and a Dreamcast game, and I know the cartridges are what they are, and they are exactly what they're supposed to be, I'm going to you. Just like anybody else would go to you. If we saw that kind of attention to detail in these retro games from you, GameStop, you would be an overnight success in a blink of an eye. Okay? People want to give you their money. People are wanting to physically go, GameStop, here you go. Here's some money. But companies like you make it difficult. Same thing. I said the same thing about Capcom. Capcom, I want to give you my money, but every time I turn around, it's like, I'm not rewarding stupidity. Who the fuck wanted Resident Evil 5 and 6 on the Switch? Nobody. Everybody was like, yo, we might get like Resident Evil 7 or even Resident Evil 2 remake, which, considering The Witcher 3 is coming to Switch, doesn't seem that far-fetched anymore. But my point is this. You were like 5 and 6, and to Resident Evil fans, 5 is possibly the worst game out of the entire franchise. Okay? Because after 4 is 5, and 4 was so good, 5 just fell flat. So I'm not picking on GameStop to pick on GameStop and act as if they're the only ones doing this. No. Capcom does it too. Capcom doesn't listen to the people who pay them. They don't give a fuck. But GameStop, you have no excuse whatsoever to be having as much trouble as you are. When I walk into a GameStop and I ask somebody behind the counter about why are you getting rid of the Vita games, why are you getting rid of the Vita selection, and they say something as dumb as, well, they're not making them anymore. So you're just going to let all that potential money go to the wayside? Like, seriously? There is an audience, a dedicated, big PlayStation Vita fan base out there who would happily put down $120 on a PS Vita. No questions asked. Just, let me get that PS Vita, $120, no problem. You know what I'm saying? It's $120, you're throwing it away to the side. You're just throwing it away. There's countless Vitas out there. They didn't just stop making them 5 years ago. They just quit making them about 2 years ago. I want to say a year or 2 years ago is when they quit making them. Do you know how many fucking Vitas that is? That's a lot of fucking Vitas. It's a lot of 1001 models. It's a lot of 2001 models. Those are a lot of fucking things. We're just not going to sell them anymore because they're not new. Bitch, you don't make a profit off of new games. And the profit you do make off of them is little and compared to how much profit you make off of the used market. So again, I have to ask you, why do you not sell the retro games? Why are you taking out games that are like the PS Vita? Why are you taking these out? Be smart about it. Actually think about it. Why are you taking away something that, yes, they're no longer making? But let me put it this way. If this game is going to bring you in 95% profit, but this game is going to bring you 10% profit, why are you so worried about what the fuck this game does if this game brings in more fucking money? It's simple mathematics, people. GameStop is in trouble because they don't understand 1 + 1 = fucking 3. GameStop, right there for being so fucking stupid. Put the cocaine down. Put the Hennessy down. Put the Sky Blue down. I don't know alcohol. I'm just naming the ones I do know. You know, get the heroin needle out your arm. Because there's no way you're this fucking stupid. No way. Anyway, I'm out this bitch.